Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. So, today's video has been long anticipated video. Um, I want to make this, I've been wanting to make this video for like, I think it was like a year, so since I've built this thing over here. But, I tried making it, I just been procrastinating. It's so hard, because I was gonna make it like a year ago when I first built it. But, I like made a couple clips, did some benchmarks, and then I just, for whatever reason, just scrapped it. Stopped kind of uploading for a while, and then like since then I've been like uploading like on and off a little bit. But I'd like to like get back into the swing of things and start uploading quite a bit more. Cause in recent times I've just been the last thing I really uploaded. Well, the last thing I uploaded got copyright strike and taken down, so that's awesome. But the thing before that I uploaded was like a Realms video or something, which I was planning on continuing, but I kind of realized we had already gotten like way too far in that Realm series, so that was pretty stupid. um, but I'd really like to start uploading more consistently, and well, why not start with this video that I've been wanting to make for an entire year now? So you read the title. If you clicked on this, I'm very surprised, but you read the title. So this is about this thing right here. It's about my PC that I built about a year ago. I was trying to make a video about, have not yet. Since then, I made quite a few changes, not to like the build, more to the overall setup. But we're gonna be more focusing on the build today. But without any further ado, let's get into the parts list. So since like a year ago, I really haven't made any like component changes. I've really only made like aesthetic changes a little bit, here and there. But the core components of this build consist of an 8086K, which is so insanely overkill. It's really expensive right now. It's so incredibly overkill for like what I have in the rest of my system. You kind of see a little sneak peek down there. But I'll get into that later. It's a stupid story. I have an old Endermax Liquefusion CPU cooler, which the RGB actually doesn't work on the actual where the I can't remember what it's called. It's where the CPU touches the cooler heatsink. It just RGB just does not work for whatever reason. And but yeah, I actually just took out the original because the RGB didn't work on that or the fans. So I just took out the original fans and added a couple external RGB fans. Whatever, no big deal. The next part, the Gigabyte Z370 Aorus Ultra Gaming Rev. It's actually 2.0, but I couldn't find that here, so I kind of just added that and then set the price around what you get on the used market because there's all the prices are just ridiculous at the moment. But yeah, this is a pretty decent board. I mean, like I wouldn't really recommend anyone get it because you can't really find this new anywhere very much. But I mean, it's a decent board. Gets the job done. And just me well in overclocking the 8086K. I have it at 5 gigahertz right now, I believe. So that's doing pretty well. I don't know where I put the memory. I put it down here because I couldn't find it for whatever reason. So the memory was the Corsair Vengeance Pro RGB 16 gigabyte, 3200 megahertz. I personally like these. I like the look of these. Again, the reason I have this, it's a little overkill. It's just a part of the explanation. I'll give that a little bit later. Let's head right back up here. So I have 3 storage drives. So this one is a Seagate Barracuda Pro Compute 1 terabyte. This is like I think I have like a hybrid version of this. It's not this exact version, but it's like a 2.5 inch. It's really small for a hard drive, and it has like SSD cache on mine, so that's pretty nice. And it's for just mass storage. Currently I'm only using like 300 gigs of it, so not too much being used there. I have this in the professional 40 gigabyte SSD, which is what I have most of my games on at the moment, just for, most like games that I really care about, better loading times and everything. And then for the storage, I have the 970 Evo Plus, which is, oh my god, I cannot tell you how much I recommend getting an M.2 NVMe drive. My boot times are godly. It's less than 10 seconds every time. It's insanely fast. My games that I have load on this, they load so fast, it's just insane. I know it's a little bit overkill to 3 boot drives, but again, I'll get into that later. A lot of this ties into some stupid stuff that, I don't know. Anyway, the GPU I got was the MSI Radeon RX 570 8GB version, and I know these two do not pair well in the slightest. I understand that, but I had to do it to them. Get into that later once again. The case, I have the Corsair Carbide Speco 4 with tempered glass. It looks very nice, however, the cable management is horrible. Like, it just sucks. It's not like the worst. There's not a lot of space behind the tray for cable management, so it's like, I don't know. It's just, it looks good. That's about all I can give it. Airflow is not too bad. There's a dust filter under the PSU, but it's not too terrible. So for the power supply, I got the Corsair RMX 1000 watt 80 plus gold. Now that is so, oh my god, it's so overkill. I probably could have gotten away with a 650 watt, maybe 550 watt. I could have gotten away with that. It's fully modular. It's very reliable. 80 plus gold. It's again fully modular. It looks very nice. It's sleek. But yeah, it's a little bit overkill, just like a lot of my stuff that I got in this build. Whoopsies. It's very, very overkill. And then finally, this isn't really part of the build, but I got this 5 GHz Wi-Fi card because my older one that I was originally playing on had it was 2.4 gigahertz, and so I just like tripled the speed of my internet by doing that. But anyway, now into the reason why this is so unbalanced. So pretty much what happened was, originally I had this friend who was going to sell me a couple parts. He was going to sell me a i7 990 or something. It was a little bit old. It had good overclocking potential, and it was gonna pair pretty decent with what I had. But he was gonna give me that, and he was gonna give me a motherboard. Yeah, he's gonna sell me that. He sold me it for pretty cheap, and so I ended up buying that off him. But what ended up happening was I put it together. I put it together in the build video we did, and what ended up happening was the CPU pins on the motherboard were just bent. They were broken, and so motherboard is trash. He was like, all right, you know what? Somehow, out of the kindness of his heart, he just gave me an 8086K with accompanying motherboard, LG 1151 motherboard, which is like insane. He was like, you know what? You can just have this because that was broken. My bad. And he gave me that. He also gave me this, which is wild. So I thank him a lot for that. But how does that tie into the rest of this? Well, how it ties in is that what my original plan was just buy these two drives, have a mass storage drive, have a decent SSD. For whatever reason, he decided to like force my dad to buy this and this and this, which is really, really weird. He was just like, he needs this, he needs it, without even telling me. Like, I would have totally denied that and be like, no, I don't need that. But he was like, yeah, no, you need a $200 power supply, 1,000 watts, you need a 970 Evo Plus, and you need this RGB RAM. You need it. And that was when RAM was even more expensive, so it was like a $120, $130 kit. And he was like, yeah, you need it. I don't know, I wasn't really on board with that, but he didn't really tell me. I'm not complaining about the upgrade. I'm just saying, like, that was a little bit of, I don't know why. And my dad just kind of blindly followed that. Voice crack, okay. But my dad just kind of blindly followed that, which is like, okay, it's fine, whatever. But I would probably not have this. I'd probably have a 800 watt. I'd probably just have some Vengeance LPX memory. But I don't, so I mean, it's fine. It's cool. I did pay for most of it, but that part of the build I did not pay for. Well, I did pay. The first power supply I got was actually an 850, and it came dead on arrival. We also there was multiple problems with that original system. It came DOA, so I guess I paid like half this price. So yeah, but I paid for most of this. But that is pretty much the core components of the build. Now, one thing that I have actually added to the build since then. So a thing that I've added since the build was I added a couple of some fans. So they were just some $35 cheap Chinese fans. They get the job done really well though. They look really nice. Their color changing modes are they're kind of iffy. They're from a brand you've never heard of. It's called Up Here. I know you've probably never heard of that unless you've heard of the fans. These are, I mean, pretty popular Chinese fans because they're 6 for $35. So I mean that's an insanely good deal. Um, I have them connected to a controller, so they don't really run off like the motherboard. So they're always at like a set RPM. They're at like a medium-ish RPM, I guess. I can't really set it unless I were to connect them to the motherboard. But all the RGB and the fans are all connected up to the controller, and I can just control it through my reset button over here. But yeah, they're really good deal. 6 for $35. So like I said, I had the Enermax LiquidFusion. I replaced the two fans on the AIO with the Chinese fans, and then I added a third one to the bottom. So I've filled every single place that I can put fans in. Other than that, there's not really much else to mention about anything that I've changed with the build or anything that I've done with the build. I've definitely tidied up cable management a lot. So before, it was when I originally built it, it was just there's massive cables everywhere. And in the past couple weeks, so what I ended up having to do was I had to take out every single cable one by one and just recable it, so the cable management would be a little bit cleaner. But what I still ended up having to do was shoving every single possible cable behind the motherboard tray. And this case doesn't give too much room. There's not very much room behind the motherboard tray. But I somehow made it work, and it actually doesn't look too terribly bad. I'll probably have some, hopefully if I remember, have some footage up on screen showing the build. But, well, the changes I pretty much made are more to my setup. So, like, I got, like, RGB mouse pad, new mouse, keyboard, whatever, microphone, whatever. I've changed all that. But, yeah, that is just about it. And before we end the video, I just wanted to, just in case you were interested, if you were curious, I just wanted to show a couple of benchmarks. I benchmarked 4 or 5 games before this, so I just wanted to show you guys that. And let's get to the benchmarks. So to start with the benchmarks, I decided to just play a little bit of Minecraft. I just loaded up this old world that I used to play in a lot. I haven't played in it in quite a little bit, but I pretty much just ran around the world, tried to load new chunks, headed into the nether, just messed around a little bit, and well, it performs obviously very well. I mean, it is Minecraft, but I was seeing anywhere from 250 to 400 FPS most of the time, so I didn't really see any dips under 200. Both CPU and GPU stayed around 60 degrees. The GPU, went like 55, 60. But usage for CPU and GPU, the CPU seemed to have quite a bit more usage for whatever reason. Not 100% sure on that one. But yeah, for overall, this title did pretty well, as I expected. So the next game I went ahead and tested was GTA Online. So I had most of the settings at a very high with MSAA off, and the frame rates weren't great. I mean, most of the time it was like around 55 to 60, but later I saw some dips into the mid 40s, but nothing ever really under around 45. It got like 43, 44, but nothing really lower than that. GPU was at 100% almost the whole time, and the CPU was also being utilized pretty well. It was around, not like the best, but it was around 60 to 75% CPU usage. So this this game is still, even in 2019, it is still a little bit difficult to run, even for this hardware. I'm not saying my hardware is anything, super, super special, but for this hardware, I think it did pretty well. I did see the temperatures, go a little bit 60, 65, because they were both being utilized 100% almost the whole time. So, I would have liked to see a 60 FPS experience in this game, but to be honest with you, this game is one of those games where I can really just handle, 40 FPS, 50 FPS, because in most games, for whatever reason, I usually can, I really like, 80, 90, 120 FPS, but in this game, I really think that 50 to 45, 50, 60 FPS is actually pretty playable and pretty enjoyable experience. But 100% all around the whole entire time, it was very, very playable. Now, yes, I do understand how incredibly dead this game is, and to be honest, I don't really play it that much anymore. I used to, and I got okay, but I don't really play it too much anymore. But this game, I decided to test Fortnite just because why not? I mean, it's a good game to benchmark because it's not too difficult to run on most systems. But anyway, I decided to set the settings to full epic 1080p resolution, and I usually saw anywhere from 60 to 80 FPS most of the time. The GPU was always at 100%, while the CPU was actually around 45-50%. So obviously, as you can see, it's a very imbalanced pair of CPU and GPU. I got into a couple of fights. As you can see, I'm not that great at the game, but I did win 2 battles, and but overall, the performance was pretty good. The GPU was getting a little bit hot. It was going around 68 degrees, so that's a little bit hotter than the previous couple of tests. However, I think this honestly performed pretty well. I apologize. The footage seems to be very low frame rate. There's something wrong with OBS. Whenever I don't have like the frames locked or whatever, it always just stutters and does everything. So it really looks a lot better in person than it does to OBS. So I do apologize for that. But I was a little bit unlucky here. Didn't find a shotgun, but that's okay. I still ended up getting the kill. And well, we're not here to test my performance. We're here to test the performance of the hardware. And it did really well. I'm very happy with this performance. Well, I mean, I would rather, play on a little bit of a lower setting and get some higher frame rates, especially because this is more of a fast-paced battle royale game. So I would probably do, high with no shadows. That would really help frame rate. But overall, on all epic settings, this did pretty well, and this is extremely more than playable. So I'm very happy with this result. So the final game I decided to test was PUBG. So I'm obviously not great at this game. I really haven't put too much time into it. But I decided to test it nevertheless, because we're not really testing how well I do in the games, but we're testing the performance of the hardware. Speaking of which, I never really dipped below 50 FPS, but most of the time it was actually between 70 and 90 frames. So that's actually quite a bit better than, well, obviously quite a bit better than 50. But yeah, so as things start to render in and load, you end up getting quite a bit better frames. But overall, this performs very, very well. I'm very happy with how this benchmark turned out. But obviously, for whatever reason, these temps and the usage just stayed the same. It stayed 0 and 10, 58 and 44. Just stayed the same the entire time. I did get the frame rate, but I did not get those two figures. So I do apologize for that. But it's kind of obvious at this point how unbalanced the CPU and GPU combo are. But that's okay, because it actually doesn't perform too bad. Once again, I do apologize for the quality and frame rate that it seems to be running at. It does look quite a bit better in person. But yeah, I might be really bad at the game, but it performs pretty well. And I did set the settings to about high, mostly. I think it was just about all high. And I think VSync was like medium or something. I really do not remember. But yeah, so this is a really good mix between graphical fidelity and performance, so I'm really happy with how this title turned out. This is great for this system. So guys, as you can see with the benchmarks, this PC performs pretty well. Obviously, the CPU and GPU are very, very unbalanced. GPU is doing 100%, and then the CPU would be at 50%. So it's a little bit unbalanced, but it still gets the job done pretty well. It's very snappy due to the fast drive, the M.2 NVMe. It's a very good decision. I'm really glad I got that. But if sometime later down the line, I might upgrade my GPU just so it can be quite a bit better pairing, and I can utilize my CPU performance to its full potential. But anyway, that's gonna do it for today's video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like if you liked, subscribe if you want to subscribe. My God, I haven't done an outro in so long. I really don't know what to say. But again, thank you guys a lot for watching. I really wanted to get back into these videos, start making more of these again. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.